Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Writers Now and I Thought Ladies. This is what happens when you have four podcasts. You start the podcast and you're like, this is the one. This is going to be the And I Thought Ladies. And then the next thing you know, you're like, but the writer's class is such a good one for this one. And then I was going to do Ladies' Tales because she acts as well. And then I was like, yes, I could put it on all three, but then I feel like that's a waste of space because I got to pay for all. You know what? Before I went into that whole nerd thing about podcasting, I just recognized no one cares but me. And since it's me and I'm a narcissist, back to what I was saying. I'm Wilnona, by the way, and a high five to me for remember to introduce myself with a small dance. Ooh, it is freaking soulful looking today. Yes, I almost wanted to continue, just be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to the club this weekend, y'all. That's exactly what I'm doing. Do some soulful little fist moving, call it dancing in my chair. I'm not getting on the floor. The bottom half of me doesn't agree. It does not agree with the soulful ideas. Any soulful ideas is like we firmly reject. Anyway, I wrote books. Go figure. You would think I was an orator or an auctioneer with as fast as I'm speaking, but I wrote books. And I thought divorce was bad, and I thought being grown up was easy. If only I were me, a memoir and verse, Foreign Coffees, Widow's Web, and Widow's Debt. And those 6 books, if you've been with us for a while, you know exactly how this feel goes. Say it with me now. Those 6 books, or wherever audiobooks can be found. I'm giving you a moment to catch up. Yep, there's your lag time. And if you can find out the rest of the book about the books that we've written, blah, 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 blah. See, this is what happens when I try to have audience participation. A narcissist doesn't share their airtime, messes the whole groove up. If you'd like to find out about the rest of the books that we've written, that'd be 13 more books equaling 19 books. You can go to www.andithoughladies.com. If you're wondering why I look like this today, it's because jet lag is real. And I just came back from Europe, but that's not important at all. You're not here to hear about me. That's the important thing. You're here to hear about our wonderful guests. Wonderful guests, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hello, everyone. My name is Bahni Turpin, and I am an actress, an audiobook narrator. I'm also the founder of Sola Food Co-op, an emerging cooperative grocery store in South Los Angeles. Hey.
Okay, so I was going to start off with what, I should actually start off with. How did you start being an actress? And no, I heard food. So, what's a food co-op? How did you get started? And what's in the food co-op? Because I might need to buy some food.
Oh, okay. So a food co-op is a consumer cooperative generally. So there's all different kinds of co-ops. Co-ops are businesses that are owned by the people who use them, and it can be as few as 2 people or unlimited. In the case of our store, which is a consumer cooperative, we will have unlimited amount of owners. Basically, in a nutshell, in a food co-op, what happens is when you shop at the co-op as a member, which is really an owner, when you're an owner of the co-op, you receive a share of the profits according to how much you shop at the store. So you're a part owner. There's generally a small investment to become an owner. In our store, it's $200 per household. So a family can join the co-op for $200. And the thing is, though, the co-op development, we have to start getting owners before we actually have the store. So we're in that little tricky spot where we're selling something that isn't, you can't go shop there yet. The store's not there yet. But we already have 707 households that have invested in the co-op, and we're in the site selection phase of our development where we're looking at sites to actually build out our store. And I think we found one. It's just also very chicken and egg with this. It's like now that we found the site, now we really need to capitalize because we can't really capitalize before we find the site. So we have a small amount of member equity that we've amassed, which is what people pay to join the co-op. Part of that we've been using for operations, but Yeah, so we're in this little chicken egg moment where we need to find money to secure this wonderful site that we found in which to open our store. But it's been a really long, whoo, long journey. And, um, years ago, before I started this, which was 2011, before I started this, if someone had said to me, "Oh, yeah, you're going to start a cooperative grocery store," I would have said, "You're out your mind." I would have said, "What? What makes you think that I, Bahni Turpin, the actress, would do something like that?" And I don't know how I got tapped. I really don't know. That's why I think that it's just divine intervention, because I was going about my merry way pursuing my acting career, and had some successes and saved some money, was able to buy a home in Los Angeles, right? So
That
I
is a
bought my
landmark. That's
I
a
bought my
milestone right
home,
there.
bought my home in South Los Angeles. Actually, unbeknownst to me, it was only a few blocks away from where one of my great aunts used to live. And I think that, I think things like that draw you to places. It's like there's an invisible connection that you feel. So I bought this house, and then I realized that I was still going back to my old neighborhood to buy groceries because we only buy organic food, and it wasn't here. And during the time that I've lived here, which has been since 2010, three of our major grocery store chains have closed in the neighborhood. So we were already a food desert, and now it's worse. The only uptick is that some of the one grocery store that still exists in my neighborhood has begun carrying some organics, not enough for me to shop there on a regular basis, but there are some, so I do have a hope of maybe I can find it here without having to drive for half an hour. But generally, the stores like Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Sprouts, they're on the outer edges of my neighborhood. I have to either go toward the university, USC, where they have a Trader Joe's, or I have to go west to Culver City, or I have to go north to where I used to live in Hollywood to visit those stores. So we're trying to bring a store to the hood that's owned by us. So nobody can decide, "Oh, we don't want to pay hazard pay to our workers," and leave, which is why Ralph's, which is also Kroger's, I don't know if you have Ralph's in Maryland, but I know y'all have Safeway. But in Giant, do you still have Giant? Yeah.
Safely. We call it getting robbed with your eyes open.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the thing is some of these stores they come into the hood and they will open a store that's like a third tier grocery store, not their top level. You go into another neighborhood and see the same store and be like, "Whoa, this store's so nice with the wood floors and everything, and ooh, and it doesn't smell like rotting meat." But in our neighborhoods, they tend to do less, or they tend to sell their surplus, what didn't move at some other store, what they had a lot of. So we want to bring a full service grocery store that specializes in natural and organic foods. We'll have some conventional foods as well. They just won't be genetically modified or have high fructose corn syrup or whatever. We call those clean conventional foods. So we don't want it to be unrecognizable for people who aren't used to buying organic food, but we want you to have those options and we want that to be available to our community. So
Mm.
that's the work behind Sola Food Co-op, South LA Food Co-op. It's our website is www.solafoodcoop.com, solafoodcoop.com. So We
So
hope
you're
to
looking
blend.
for those other couple hundred or thousand people to buy in so that we can have this organic.
Absolutely. You know, we'd like to have at least 1,000 to 1,200 households when we open doors on the store. But
Yeah,
I'm confident that once we announce the site, there will be a huge uptick in membership. These people who have already joined, those are the faithful. Those are the people who are like, I believe it, I can see the vision, I'm going to put my money down now. But there's a lot of people who won't do that until they see the store.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
there or they see that the store is being built, you know. So it is coming. It is coming.
Nice.
Yeah.
I am a huge fan of organic foods. Not
Wonderful.
by choice, just that my body only really likes to eat organic foods, which
Your
means a
body is discerning.
very high food bill.
Do you
Only
have any co-ops in your area?
no. In fact, when you're saying you only have one store, I definitely understand that. Completely,
Mm-hmm.
totally understand that because we have one grocery store where I live. But
Wow.
I live on the edges, so I do have farms.
What's your zip code?
Saying that.
They're not gonna find you. Okay, I'm just gonna. I know the name of the city. I'm gonna put that in.
So anyway, I'll tell you like as soon as we stop recording, I'll definitely tell you the zip code.
Cause I have an app. Find a food co-op. I'm trying to find you a food co-op in your area.
Now there's a food co-op near where my mama was born and raised, and we just drive down there. But for the most part, we live like a couple miles away from some farms.
And
So it's
do
never
you
terrible to find food. And besides, I already drive to another state anyway to get my food. I drive to Pennsylvania to go grocery shopping. My big grocery shopping with I have my freezers. Yeah, all of that is I drive to Pennsylvania, go straight to the farm, get it from there, put it in my freezer. Yeah. Yeah. It's annoying. My body is very annoying about the food it eats. But now I think I should probably focus on your audiobook career because I don't
okay?
segue on the show in any way, shape, or form. I was trying to segue from food to audiobook and I went, yeah, no. I think I have one, Love to eat snack food while doing audiobooks. Can you tell me about how you got into audiobooks? That's as good as a
Well, you
segue.
don't get to eat anything while recording an audiobook. You can eat all you want while listening.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
you don't get to just stop and have a quick snack and some water and then start
well, stop
recording.
being the operative word. You would have to stop. You can't be like, and then she went down to the such and such.
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
I tried recording because sometimes people ask me to like do a chapter. And I'm like,
uh-huh.
hey, sure, I'll do a chapter. I tried to do it by chewing bubble gum. It sounded interesting.
Mm-mm. Not unless that's a character choice.
Right,
I
right.
did.
That about
I don't think that the reviews are out on it yet. Sometimes I take a risk with a character, and sometimes they hate it. But uh, I had a book recently that takes place largely in an assisted living or a co-living place for elders. And one woman had, she had the oxygen on. And I made her talk like she was gasping for air a lot. So we'll see how that goes over. She wasn't the main character, so hopefully it wasn't too annoying, but I thought it was very endearing.
okay. This brings me to the question I was gonna ask like fifth down on my list, but I'm asking now. So when you see characters in books, how do you develop them like in your mind?
Sometimes it's really just off the cuff. It's like what comes to me in that moment. Sometimes if it's a major character in the book, I might think of a person I know or have known in my life that I want them to sound like. So, And there's some favorite people. I don't know if they'll ever hear this, but like my stepmother's voice is one. She has to me an elegant sort of education. You know, she's got a nice, classy lady voice. And there's some. I just did a book recently, and I had an old friend of my mother's that I remember from when I was a child. You know, Mally Bryce. And she used to say, she was from Georgia, and she said, Bonnie, listen. Bonnie, I declare, you know, and things like she was also an elegant lady, but very southern, different. You know, so sometimes I do that. Sometimes I use the sound of an actual person. Or sometimes, you know, it's a kid, and so you have to go into the kid area of your voice to make it sound younger. And the kids are always sort of usually more excited and faster and higher and faster because their life is new. They're not jaded yet like you and I. Life is exciting every minute. So yeah, and then sometimes it's informed by whatever's in the script. I had an audition for a play recently. They didn't have the sense to hire me, but one of the roles was an ensemble cast, and I would have played like three, four different roles. And one of the roles was an extinct species, the golden toad. And I asked the casting director, I said, "What are you looking for with this toad character? How is the, am I supposed to sound like a ribbit? I mean, throw some rivets in or what? How do I do this?" And what I landed on was, this toad was only found in one special place in Costa Rica. And so, and it talked about, she talked about, or he talked about how they went extinct and how they used to have these mating frenzies every rainy season. They would all come out of their burrows and get pumping or get pumped. That was like one of the lines. And so I thought of her as this sort of really sort of sexy Costa Rican. I've never been to Costa Rica, but I tried to give her sort of Spanish sound, and she was sort of, hot.
Yes.
In my mind, in
She's
my
a
mind,
golden toad. Of
the
course she is.
golden toad. The sad thing though, I did a little research on it with the golden toad, only the males were golden. The females were like red, black, and green, which is also interesting.
Shine. They needed a little help.
Yeah, yeah,
Shiny personalities. That's what they needed. Shiny
yeah.
personalities. Okay. So like I love that you get informed first of all by the people in your life. That's gotta make every character like so dear. And then like you get to interpret and twist on that. Ah, that's gotta be
Well,
fun.
they're not always people from my life. Sometimes they're just, there's five dudes in this book, and they can't all have a deep voice, so because that'll wear you out trying to get down there all the time. Can't always get down there, but somebody's got to have an annoying dude voice like this, so,
I
so
have interviewed quite a few narrators. This I have to admit, this is very fun.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is so fun. You have brought so many characters to life, like just like in those few minutes. Oh my God.
Thank you.
I'm almost tempted to ask you later about like what's your rate for finished hour? I know I'm not gonna be my book sales aren't gonna be able to take care of it, but
I
covered.
don't think my rate is high enough,
Ooh, ooh,
but
oh,
it's hard to find out. It's like, it's kind of it seems kind of rude to me to ask another narrator, "Well, what is your rate?" I should be getting more than you. You know, I, so I rely on sometimes the people that do the contracts. Like, am I charging enough? Like, once somebody pulled my coat once and said, "Oh, you're Bonnie, you are not charging enough," and I had to say, "Well, how much more? This much more? This one?" They were like, and I was this one. Then they were like, "That's more like it."
mhm.
So now I'm ready to raise that.
Yes, you
But I
should do.
thought maybe I should wait for another award and then I could say, now my rate is da, da, da.
Okay, which brings me segue. Hey y'all, I'm doing two segues in one show. It's looking getting good. Which brings me to the audio awards. So what did you wear?
I didn't go. I was not nominated this year.
But you were nominated before,
Oh yeah, a lot. I won
and
quite
you
a
haven't
few.
even won before.
And I'm kicking myself that I didn't go this year. You know why?
Hmm. Did you win?
I didn't. I wasn't nominated. That's why I didn't
You just
go.
said you didn't. Yeah, right.
Whoopi Goldberg was nominated and she won. And she has said on The View that I am one of her favorite narrators. And
Oh,
I've narrated 3 of her children's books. And if I had, not been so self absorbed and noticed that she was nominated,
yeah,
I
she.
could have asked to present her award and they would have let me.
Oh my God,
But
that
I
has.
didn't get to meet Whoopi
She's
because
just.
because when the nominations came out, I just like, where's Bonnie Turpin? I just looked for my name and didn't look at everybody else's nomination.
Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. No, I saw that she was nominated this year, and I was like, "Ooh, that's got to be fun for everybody going."
And she won.
Oh, there's always someone like amazingly cool nominated, and you're like, "Oh, I should go." And I'm an
Yeah,
author, and I still think about buying tickets to go.
yeah, you should go.
I should definitely go,
You should
and
go.
then surprise
But
my.
it's gotten really big, and I'm a little bit sad about that because it used to be this little boutique, wonderful event for us in this little boutique niche industry.
Yeah,
But now it's like everybody and their mama comes and,
no, you
yeah.
did not. No,
Huh?
you did not say everybody and their mama come.
They do. They
That's
do.
fine.
People, last year when it was in LA, I was like, I saw actors that I know from like my voiceover agency because we used to like go to in-person auditions. We don't anymore. And I'm like, what are you doing here? You doing audiobooks now? No, I just thought I'd come and, basically. So people wanting to get involved in the industry more so. And then they're also giving more and more awards to celebrities. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, it seems like something fun to do. I mean, I love to get dressed up and walk a red carpet, so
Yeah.
I should buy a ticket.
It
Oh,
is fun.
okay. So I have to ask for the authors out there that the biggest thing that they're always asking is how do I start getting an audiobook? What do I think about? Um, so from your perspective as a narrator, what do you think authors need to think about? Top 3 pieces of advice you would give an author that's like, I need to get an audiobook.
Oh, I'm not an author. The author's path is not one that I really know.
What do
I
you
mean,
look for when you're selecting a project?
unfortunately, it's not always so many projects that I'm selecting. Often it's like, do I have time? Yes, I'll do it. And,
Okay.
unless it looks horrible or something like, I mean, I rarely say no. But if it's, really bad, like, or something that I just don't want to, ugh, I can't, then I might say no. But usually I need to make, money. So if I have the time and it's within my, the type of thing that I do, I would not say no. There's a thing called ACX, whereby authors can find narrators willing to produce an audiobook for you. I do not do that because I'm going to narrate the book and that's it. I'm not going to proofread it. I'm not going to edit it. I don't know how. I don't know how to edit an audiobook. you need an editor for that, and then and then how it's distributed, I have no idea. So I am, you know, talent.
Your talent?
And that's what
I
I
love
do.
how you said that I am, talent. No, it's like I am talent.
I'm talent.
Which you have
And
definitely
yeah,
shown today.
I mean, I increasingly feel guilty for not doing more things, like I'm in a theater company and I'm just an actor in the company. But there are other actors who also write plays and also direct, or something. And I feel like, you should have done that, but I haven't and I don't. So,
A multi-hyphen talent. I
yeah.
Acting is your gig, acting is your gig, which reminds me to ask you, what made acting your thing? How did you know, like, acting is for me? This is what I'm gonna do.
Well, once upon a time when I was a child, I was asthmatic since the age of 2. My mother was a child psychologist and social worker, and she had the bright idea that my asthma might be influenced by emotional distress of some sort, and that maybe I needed to express myself. And she signed me up for acting class when I was 9.
Oh,
And I came into the house, I was outside playing or something, came in and she said, "Oh, you're going to take acting class. You're going to the Willoway Playhouse and take acting classes." And I was like, "Okay." And I ran off upstairs to my room. And I remember stopping on the landing in the middle of the steps and saying, "That's what I'll do. I'll be a movie star." And that was it. I never changed my mind. I never changed my mind. And I just went full force, full speed ahead in life toward that goal.
that
And
is.
this is where I have landed. I've
So how did you
done some movies.
Ooh, okay, so that leads me to my other question. I was gonna ask you a real sensible question, but now I have to jump ship on practicality. Who has the best craft table? Who has the best crafty out of all the movies?
I got to remember now.
So while you remember, I'll tell.
The only craft services table that I remember was Daughters of the Dust, my first movie. But I will say that TV shows have really good crafty. Movies, you don't know. It might be good, it might be, but TV shows, where they're there every day, 5 days a week, and they got somebody who's on the job, every week. Yeah, they have the best crafty generally. But Daughters of the Dust, which was my first film, let's see if I can show you a poster. Oh, can you see it?
Who won?
Daughters of the
Blue?
Dust. Yeah, the blue
Okay,
one.
the blue one, y'all.
Yeah, that's Cora Lee Day. She played
Oh my
the
goodness.
matriarch of the family. It was down in South Carolina in the Sea Islands, and there was some good eating.
Oh, that
Down
like some
there.
weed. I did.
I just remember every day. I think I was vegetarian at the time. I just remember every day eating that okra. I loved it. With it was like,
Really?
oh, it was okra with tomatoes
Mm.
over rice. I love that. You don't like okra?
Oh no, no. Mm.
The tomatoes are key because the
Oh, I've
tomato, yeah, that cuts the sliminess. That cuts out the sliminess.
heard. Yeah, you have okra once, you have okra twice. Yeah, you know if you like it.
I love
Like
okra.
the first time, you're like, let me try it again because maybe it changed, and you're like,
And
no.
then sometimes they would have fried okra.
Okay, that's a better okra, but I still no, it's a still pass on me.
This is our ancestral food, Wilnona.
I know, but I don't.
They have a store here in South LA that recently opened. It's another small grocery store, but they also have some prepared food, but it's all vegan.
Ooh.
And they had the nerve to have gumbo with no okra in it. And I was like,
The gumbo that I eat, okay.
it's not gumbo. That's some soup. The
Mm.
word gumbo means okra. It does.
Want
It's
to literally just sip my drink and speak no more on this subject
a
because I'm thinking about comments. Like, I think it's best I
okra.
stay silent.
Okra is good for you.
Yes. Okay, so now I have to ask the practical question, which is from acting on stage to voice acting, was there anything that you had to like really change to make that experience just as powerful?
I think that the stage acting and voice acting are more similar than stage acting and film acting. Because in both of those you got to bring it across a little more. Film acting, film and television, you know, sometimes like if I've come off of a play and then I go to a film audition, they'll be like, "What are you doing? Why you do less? Do less." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. You're up in my face and I'm doing, you know, too much." But with audiobooks and stage, you can they used to look for theater actors to do audiobooks. That's how I got into it. Another theater actress told me that, you know, they were looking for people. And yeah, so it's bigger. Sometimes when I'm narrating, I like to you have to do it quietly though. You can't I have to wear I'd put something on this arm to silence my bracelets. And you know, I don't know, just a gesture helps. It helps the sound come out. It helps the intention of the sound come out.
It feels like you're actually living it. It's like
Yeah, or
you're just
some
reading it, it's like, "Oh, I'm reading," and then you're like, "No, this person is lively." You know
yeah.
how many times you go back and edit because you've accidentally hit something? And you're like, maybe they won't notice because I'm an amateur completely and totally.
Mhm.
So I was just like, yeah, maybe they won't notice. I'll just send it on over.
Yeah, and they're like,
You
"Okay,
can't
here are
do
your
that.
corrections. That funk that you made that time when you hit the microphone." Okay, yeah, but yeah. So, and it's it's more important to you know, like here, I record in here. It's 4 feet by 4 feet. It's tiny. But when I go out to a studio to record, sometimes you have like a whole room, you know, so you can spread out. But yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Okay. Um, what have you learned from voice acting that you think you probably would have never learned from being on film or on stage?
Hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make that hard.
I don't know. Yeah, I was like that I can play all the that I want to play all the characters.
Okay, how much fun is that though?
I know, right?
And then
I
like it's
had one book where I was Russian and Korean, and thank God the engineer had lived in Korea and spoke some Korean because we'd have been way off. But yeah, but that was fun.
so you have to like I remember being at a class for audiobook narrators and they were talking about how close to the pronunciation do you have to get? So you have to learn all of the foreign language words.
Well, if you're Bahni Turpin, you do because they don't let me get away with nothing. But I listened to audiobooks and I was like, this woman is mispronouncing this word the entire book, and somehow it came out. How does this happen? I don't know. I get flagged on all my words
I just heard you say
unless they're unless it's an African language. They don't know how to police those quite just yet.
mm.
So those are usually you can't even find. And then like, I'll do something and they're like, the narrator pronounced it wrong. She didn't have the da da da. I was like, listen, it's not like a movie. We don't have dialect coaches. I do the best I can with researching how the dialect sounds, on YouTube, looking at Nigerian videos and listening to people talk, and I try to do the best I can. And I'm actually pretty good at, I have a pretty good ear for dialect, but I'm not perfect. I've never been to Nigeria. I've known some Nigerians. I'm not perfect. And in that particular book, there were supposed to be some people from the south of Nigeria that sounded different. That was a little beyond my scope of, so I gave them a South African accent. And they were like, the people sounded from the south sounded like South African or something. I was like, yeah, because that's what I knew how to do.
That's great. I'm thoroughly enjoying this interview. Thank you. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
saying all of this. This is
You're
making
welcome.
my day.
I don't do it out of any disrespect for anyone's culture, but I do the best I can with what I have to work with. And it's a story. Ultimately, the book is being produced in America. Okay? It's not being produced in Burkina Faso or whatever other country that dialect was supposed to be. If it had been, they would have gotten someone from there. So, give us a little bit of a break. I do the best I can.
Amazing.
I'm not trying to not be, not sound like the culture. I really want to. And I would love for them to give me a dialect coach or send me to Nigeria or wherever to learn the dialect. That would be fantastic. But I would love that.
I'm not gonna lie, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
A job where I would be like, oh, I get to learn in another country. Yes, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
That
I
would be
would love it.
okay. I have mad respect for all audiobook narrators and the amount of research and time that has to go into each and every hour. How do you care for your voice?
Not very well. No, I'm just kidding. Well, um, I do what I need to do. I do a little bit of a warm up. I'll do and I drink hot water in the morning first with lemon. And then I have coffee. But you have to, hydration is definitely important and will help. The more you can hydrate, the less you're gonna have to do, which I do all the time. Um, she takes a sip.
Exactly. I was like, all of a sudden now I'm really thirsty. I'm gonna eat.
Yeah, yeah, hydration. And my favorite vocal warm up is go from as high as you can go to as low as you can go on a ooh. And that helps take swelling out of your vocal cords. So it soothes them. So
Yeah.
that. And then I have nasal spray, I have nasal oil, I have throat spray, I have Flonase, all different kind of things can come up. Like I went to a studio one day to record, and I guess it was spring or the beginning of summer, and the hay fever got me. And it was like, and they ran out and got me a Flonase, and it worked. So, yeah,
Yeah.
do
That
what you
that
got
is
to do.
amazing. Just right there, just the idea of having a Flonase for hay fever.
Yeah.
Because you lived in Maryland, so it's just starting, and you know how very important a Flonase for hay fever.
I lived in DC, but yeah. And it gets so hot there. I had never been that hot when I first went to college. It was like, I'm sweating. I was like, just doing nothing.
I live in LA now. It's just the
It's,
summer
it's a
there is
different kind of heat.
yeah,
It's dry heat here.
yeah, we drink our, as my friend from Colorado says, they drink their air.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like they can get their entire hydration just from breathing. She's like, shut up.
If you got gills.
Oh goodness. So last question, where can we find out more information about you, support your project, and get the books that you have narrated?
Well, unfortunately, I do not have a personal website yet. I'll work on that this year. But you can find almost everything I've narrated on Audible for sure. Um, I tend to post about things on Instagram, so about books sometimes. Uh, and the co-op, I gave you the website for Sola Food Co-op. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. solafoodcoop.com.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. I have learned so much about the narrator side of things, which is very funny to me. I don't know why, but like I was like, oh man, I've sat through so many classes, and I'm like, and there's still so much to learn. So I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to interview more narrators to learn more.
you probably have less to learn than you think. Just start
Hmm.
doing it. I mean, are you an actor?
No,
Okay, well,
no,
it
I
helps to
write.
be an actor if you're going to narrate fiction. But maybe you
So
are.
we need acting
You
classes
never know.
first, y'all. If you're gonna narrate your own book. Oh, that's the question I should have asked. So now I'm gonna have to go back and paste this in. What should we know if we're gonna narrate our own books?
Oh, your own books? That it's best to hire a narrator. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I've so usually there's so many authors that I've been like, damn, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you call me, Tony?
So how do we do that? How do we get you as our narrator?
First, you get a published book and a producer to produce your audiobook. And then you say, I want Bahni Turpin, and they'll find me.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
These are things
welcome.
I wanted to know because I was thinking about it, and I was like, that's one too many steps. I was good
Most
with
of the major publishers have worked with me already. And that would be Penguin Random House, Macmillan Audio, HarperCollins, Simon and Schuster, Hachette, Tantor Audio. Yeah. So I've worked with all of those Audible, Audible originals. Yeah. So
he's now there's a nice list of
yeah,
people that you've worked with. All right,
yeah.
now I'm gonna go ahead and actually do that last little bit where I finish up the show. So, my name is Wilnona, which you already know. I said that because I actually forgot how to finish my own show. It's like I was too busy thinking about how I was gonna be like, how am I gonna get her as a narrator? And then I was like, but I do have to finish the show. You can find out everything that your ladies are up to at www.andithoughladies.com. While you're there, go down to the middle of the page and you can see the charities that we proudly support. We ask that you give them a little time and support too. It does not have to be monetary. You can give them some time or sometimes some knowledge. Get your hands dirty and actually build something. Who knows? But if you don't want to do any of that, there's always the option of money. We thank you in advance for that. Remember
You can
that
also donate to solafoodcoop.com on our website.
there
We
you
need
go, y'all. That
it.
makes number 4, apparently. We now support a food co-op. Okay. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Wilnona and the Missing Jade. Oh yeah. Thanks for listening.